On this warm winter day, class is in session.
Oh, that thing's a cannon.
A small group of Americans set their sights on earning a concealed weapons permit.
Yeah, I like this puppy. This might be mine.
It's a class that would never happen in a place like England, where carrying a concealed weapon is illegal. The U.S. has the highest rate of gun ownership in the world. According to Gallup, 30% of Americans own guns, an estimated 88 guns for every 100 Americans. The right to own a gun is in the Second Amendment, something that sets us apart from most other industrialized countries. Assistant political science professor Cherry McCabe lectures about gun rights as part of constitutional law courses at Simpson University in Redding, California.
In other countries, many of their gun control restrictions reflect an entirely different ideology. If you want to buy a gun as a citizen in Germany, in France, in Spain, you have to affirmatively prove why you need a gun.
Individual state gun laws range widely from the lowest regulations in areas like the South and Midwest to the strictest gun laws in areas like the Northeast and California. Generally, all 50 states follow a basic set of federal gun laws. You must fill out Federal Form 4473 and pass a background check to buy firearms from federally licensed dealers.
And you will sign this form here and date it there.
But background checks are not required for private transactions, like sales at gun shows. There are no current federal laws banning assault weapons, handguns, or large-capacity magazines.
It's much easier to compare California's gun laws with Great Britain or Canada than it is to compare the United States in general. California's gun laws are fairly restrictive. Idaho, Wyoming, Texas, they're not.
According to gunpolicy.org, our federal gun laws are permissive, while the other industrialized nations we studied are described as restrictive. In the United Kingdom, a school shooting in 1996 killed 16 5- and 6-year-olds in Scotland, prompting some of the toughest anti-gun legislation in the world. The UK passed a ban on the private ownership of all handguns in England, Scotland, and Wales. Even most police officers don't carry guns. To buy a shotgun or rifle, you must prove why you need it, such as hunting, pass background checks, and provide character references. In Australia, stricter gun laws were passed after the Port Arthur massacre in 1996. That shooting at a historic prison site and tourist attraction left 35 people dead. Gun owners were forced to surrender certain firearms to be destroyed by the government. Automatic and semi-automatic assault rifles are prohibited in most cases. Handguns are strictly regulated, and there are limits on how much ammunition can be purchased.
It's a Smith & Wesson model 629 44 mag.
Rich Howell has been in the gun business in the U.S. for 30 years. He watches closely what's happening in other countries.
The United Kingdom doesn't have a Second Amendment. Australia doesn't have a Second Amendment. When they saw gun confiscation, they had to turn in their firearms.
In Canada, modern gun laws have also been driven by gun violence. In 1989, 14 students were shot and killed at a Montreal engineering school. That incident drove stricter gun legislation that followed. Possession of semi-automatic assault weapons is prohibited with narrow exemptions. Applicants for a firearm license must pass background checks which consider criminal, mental, addiction, and domestic violence records. The minimum waiting period is 28 days on the first application, and you must have 2 people vouch for you. Germany tightened its gun laws after a school shooting left 18 people dead in 2002. Possession of handguns and semi-automatic assault rifles are allowed only with special authorization. People wanting to buy a hunting rifle must undergo background checks that can last up to a year.
Taking the same holes, man.
The United States laws reflect Americans' unique attitudes about guns. They are part of our Constitution and part of our culture.
We go through hunter safety here and we get our kids' first deer rifle and we go out hunting together. It's a totally different culture. It doesn't. And it's a culture that's lasted for well over 200 years.
Reporting on Guns in America, I'm Kelly Somm, KRCR News Channel 7.